A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to TV shows that deserve the spotlight. And so, entering through November of 2023, when it comes to TV shows, I do have a few more in mind before I basically sign off on this whole thing. Because after all, I feel like I could only carry on with this for so long. And at this point, why don't I go on ahead and talk a bit about the story of Casey Jones. And I'm not talking about Ninja Turtles, no. That itself would have been a little too obvious. But what I have in mind instead is the TV show, Casey Jones, from 1957. An Old West-styled action and adventure series starring Alan Hale and Bobby Clark that tells us the story in episodic manner of the adventures of Casey Jones. Granted, these were not actual things that had happened in his career based on the real-life engineer of the same name, who lived between 1863 and 1900. It was a 37-year-long period where a man would eventually make a heroic sacrifice to save the lives of a lot of people on the railroad by throwing his famous 382 engine into emergency braking. He was able to smash into a freight train that was parked a little outside the switch. But in so doing, he became the only casualty of that train. However, for the TV show, which came out more than 50 years after his death, it not only shows that it is likely that the heroism that he himself had put up, it itself shines throughout the whole entire series. But I feel like that with this, it takes a little more liberties than you might expect. While it doesn't necessarily showcase whatever was true about Jones's lifestyle and career based on what he's done over the years with Illinois Central or even Mobile in Ohio, railroads that used to exist way back in the day, up until the very end, which of course was decades later. Anyways though, we take a look at the episodes. Surely you might have seen a couple of things in there that were worth talking about. Being that I've only watched a few of the episodes myself, hardly got to most of which. But it sure does shine though. Lots of details are present. And it doesn't exactly matter whether Casey Jones is defending his passengers from a classic hold-up standpoint, where gun-shooting robbers are on board, hoping to find mail or cash. Or maybe there's a point where a supposed sabotage is taking place from a telegraph message. Or we could even talk a bit about a supposed meetup at some point. A stop that is supposed to be set for criminal transportation. So you can really look at Casey Jones in any possible way. But knowing the fact that there was just a little too much liberty in this series with 32 episodes and having a small, feasible cast, and of course, being set at some point in the year 1900, prior to his death, of course, we just can't escape the feeling that some days there probably will exist TV shows that might not exactly meet everybody's expectations. I find this to be a good series for what it is, though, being that it does try its hardest to pay tribute to the one and only American legend, the brave engineer himself, John Luther Casey Jones, Sr., as he himself had a son known by the name Junior, as well as another son and a daughter and a wife. A big life out there in the state of Tennessee. where he would live with his family and work with the Illinois Central Railroad. And with all the things that he's done over the years, all the different standpoints he's made in the history of railroading, and even more so, when getting to know his personal life, you could see for yourself. It's a big story with a lot of interesting bits and pieces. Things that you could never accomplish today. One doesn't simply have the authority to push a train past its usual limits. Going at high speeds on a steam engine was one risky move. Other than that though, there's really not much else I'd have to point out. This is just one of those shows that was live action, black and white, mostly marketed as a Western show for all people. But above all that, this was a supposed episodic story of Casey Jones's life prior to death. So I feel like that just covers that for this whole piece. If you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side.